This is Lawrence Watkins with the Black Financial Channel, and welcome to the FJT 5. These are my five most interesting articles as it relates to Black finance, wealth, and business for today, October 1st, 2020. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so my first in the lead article today comes from alternet.org. So I believe it is a more on the liberal side of the spectrum, but it talks about a strike by Portland strippers has grown into a nationwide movement. So I found this article to be interesting for a couple of reasons, and I'll get to in one moment here. But it talks about protesters in Portland, Oregon, carry signs with messages like "No justice, no booty," and "We won't perform without reform." The stripper strike is centered on exposing racially biased labor practices and calling for the equitable treatment of Black and other non-white dancers within the sex forward Portland's mini strip clubs. The localized strike has since grown into a nationwide labor movement for racial justice, as well as better treatment overall of dancers in strip clubs around the country. Black dancers are leading the charge, mobilizing the nascent movement and dismantling stereotypes and taboos along the way. It goes on to say, in terms of what they're fighting for, uh, here highlighted, it says, then there are more overt policies like clubs that primarily hire white dancers, pay them more, and give them the best time slots. And other areas in this paragraph talk about some of the other things that they're actually fighting against. The leader of the movement is a woman by the name of Kat Hollis. So she's a Portland-based dancer, stripper, and the founder of Haymart Pole Collective, which is the central organizing force behind the stripper strike. So she or Sultan writes, so this is someone who's actually reporting on the actual story regarding working conditions, fair wages, and protection from sexual assault. Even though strippers are the main entertainers at strip clubs, most of them are independent contractors who pay stage fees to perform. As a result, they are not guaranteed safety, fixed wages, health care, or recourse for the sexual harassment, stalking, and rape they experience on the job. And for Black women, the risks of sex work are magnified by racism. So this article is interesting to me. So first reason is this concept of freelancer versus employee. So there's a broader fight going on in the economy with companies like Uber or Lyft or Instacart, anything that has a full workforce of freelancers that do gig types of jobs. So now we see this being expanded to the adult entertainment industry in regards to, are they freelance contractors or employees of the actual strip clubs? And then, in addition to that, you have the racism component with regards to this, in regards to how workers in whether they are employees or independent contractors are actually treated on the job. So this is moving beyond just the adult entertainment industry in terms of strip clubs, and has broader implications for more, I guess, a more national movement. And in addition to that, more national movement, it's going to be interesting to see how this organizing body continues to evolve, since this is something that is not like, cars or Ubers or something like that that's experiencing this challenge, this problem, but an industry which people don't really like to talk about. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this how this article plays out and how this story actually plays out. But you can check this article out on alternet.org. That's alternet.org, and the link is in the description. The next article comes from the USA Today, so usatoday.com, and it talks about reparations in California. So California to study, consider reparations for Black residents after landmark law was passed. So it talks about Gavin Newsom, who is the governor of California, but it states California is now the first state to adopt a law that mandates a study of how the state could provide reparations to Black residents and descendants of slaves. Governor Gavin Newsom signed the historic law Wednesday that creates a 9-member task force dedicated to coming up with recommendations for what form reparations might take and who would be eligible to receive them. Newsom made this statement. So he says, as a nation, we can only truly thrive when every one of us has the opportunity to thrive. Our painful history of slavery has evolved into structural racism and bias built into a permeating throughout our democratic and economic institutions. And then it states reparations could come in the form of cash payments, student loan forgiveness, public works projects, and job training. This law doesn't limit the payment to, I guess, descendants of slaves, but they should have a special consideration. So I thought this would be interesting. And on, I guess, the Black side, Assemblywoman Shirley Weber, she's the chair of the Legislative Black Caucus for California. She has been leading up this charge. So it'll be interesting over the next year or two to see how this actually plays out from a state perspective as well. So moving from state and, I guess, government in terms of reparations and the fight for racial justice back to corporate America, there was an article in the New York Times today. Actually, this is a little bit older, but I came across it today. I believe this was made on August 7th, 2020, but I finally came across it today. But it talks about corporate America's role in the fight for racial justice. So this was a conversation with the 6919 Project leader, Nicole Hannah-Jones, on how businesses can help whittle away social inequities as well. So this is actually about a 45-minute presentation on YouTube, and it talks, about this particular subject. So please check that out if you'd like. I think it provides valuable information, especially for those who work in corporate America, in terms of suggestions and examples that you can give the people who run your organization, who run the corporation, clear-cut examples and suggestions of what they could do to close the racial wealth gap. The last two articles come from the NFL. And it talks about really two contrasting types of things. So the first states that this is from EUR Web as of today. It states that Jay-Z taps Jesse Collins as first Black Super Bowl halftime show executive producer. So the article states Jesse Collins is an innovative, creative, and one of the only executive producers that speaks fluent artist vision. I believe that was, a quote by Jay-Z. Jesse's insights and understanding create both extraordinary shows and true cultural moments. After working with Jesse for so many years, I look forward to all of what there is to come. So there was this press release, and this actually comes out of the deal that Jay-Z caught a lot of flack for. Back last August, it states Roc Nation, Jay-Z's entertainment and sports company, signed a deal with the NFL to consult on the halftime show as their live music entertainment strategist. So I guess this is one of his responsibilities. But, this article also quotes Luke Campbell, so, Uncle Luke, who called Jay-Z, who says that the NFL, called on Jay-Z to fix what was going on. So he states the NFL basically showing that, hey, look, let me go get a token Black guy, throw him out there, say we're dealing with systemic racism, and say we're having him involved with the entertainment. Luke told TMZ at the time. It specifically said that Jay-Z would be involved with the systemic racism in entertainment. Right now, that's an F. You can read more about this article in terms of who this brother is by the name of Jesse Collins. I don't know much about him, but I'll make sure to do some additional research about him. The last article actually comes from the USA Today once again. Let me go back to the top. Here we go. So sports team owners listen to players, but support Republicans to the tune of billions of dollars. It states that USA Today Sports reviewed federal political contributions of 183 team owners and found that they have donated at least $14.6 million so far in 2019 and 2020. It starts off by saying they would stay in the locker room. So this is talking about the Miami Dolphins. The article talks about the Miami Dolphins in terms of what they're doing, in terms of staying in the locker room before games for both the national anthem and Lift Every Voice and Sing. Because of the racial injustices they have both seen and experienced. And the owners are talking, and this goes back to the Jay-Z piece where the owners may be making symbolic contributions and symbolic gestures in regards to this problem, but they're really flexing their muscle from a monetary standpoint for the Republican Party. Owners are flexing, but the politicians whom they're donating have, in many cases, put them in direct opposition with their players' social justice efforts. And it goes to look right here. So they've donated over, I guess, close to $14 million so far. As you can see, the majority of that money went to Republicans, and then much less amount went to the Democratic Party. So it states that USA Today found that owners have directed more than $3.7 billion to PACs, political action committees directly aligned with President Donald Trump. So that was interesting. The interesting piece was I thought it would be the NFL that was leading the charge and leading the way, but it's actually, where is this at? Let me scroll down a little bit more. It's actually the Major League Baseball. So if you look here, MLB has donated the most. To just all types of candidates, Republican and Democratic, but definitely the Republicans. But then the NFL is right after that, followed by the NBA. And I was also surprised by the amounts in terms of the sheer number of owners that have given money. So it says 55 have not given money. That means about 130 or so actually have given money to federal candidates as well, mostly in the range of $5,000 to $25,000. So I found this interesting in terms of, although they're speaking with players, they're really voting with their wallets as well as it relates to political donations. But that's about it for today. So let me know what you thought about today's episode, about, I guess, the stripper strike, about what's going on with the NFL and NBA and, I guess, sports leagues, and also the article regarding corporations and what they could do to expand their fight for racial justice. If you all like this video, please give it a thumbs up button, share, and subscribe. And please let me know in comments what you think about this segment of the Financial Juneteenth 5. This is a test run for the next 6 weeks or so. So if you like it, we'll continue. But if you don't, we'll try something new. So on behalf of the Black Financial Channel, my name is Lawrence Watkins. Take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.